Hello and welcome everybody. We're gonna play Password again. We have like a concerned looking Roswell over here. My least favorite character so far. I don't know. Like that was a pretty right away thing. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what's up with this character, but I'm not feeling it. But yeah. Yeah, okay. But I'm excited to continue this because I did like that first hour or so that I played. So we're gonna continue Dave's adventures, and I think we're gonna explore the mansion. Yeah, his adventures of going to like his last hurrah of hanging out with his friends before like everyone goes off to college and they stop seeing each other. You know, like what happened with me, where like I just stopped talking with everybody and only talked to like 2 people from high school days, but you know, that's fine. Okay. Like I kind of want to go down it just in the list order. That sounds fine. Let's go outside. At the back of the foyer were 2 doors that led out into the backyard. Even as I approached, I could see through the windows that the place was surrounded by woods. Even stepping outside, the mountain air hit me hard in how it was fresh and clean. It smelled earthy and pleasant, reminding me of Dean outside of his normal honey scent. That's kind of gay, but like I understand. It's pretty great, isn't it? Oh hey, it's the 2 characters I like. Probably top 2 so far. I don't know. I'm kind of okay with Horny Bear, and like Sal is cool. I also like Haas. He's pretty pleasant. So kind of just those 3, I think. I'm also curious about Ty though. Like he seems fun as well. So I guess it's just Roswell and maybe Orlando that I'm kind of like, eh. But it's whatever, right? I blinked, having not noticed Dean and Sal standing nearby. Much like me, they seem to just be taking things in. But Dean approaches me, putting an arm around my shoulder. Over my shoulder, whatever. Got a greenhouse out there, too. He points out at a structure off to the side, which looks more like a garden shed more than made out of wood and glass. Ooh. Is what it is. Haven't had a proper look inside yet, but whatever's growing in there seems to be faring well enough. Mimicking Dean's motion, Sal points to a mass of green at the other side of the backyard. Hedge maze seems big. Oh man, I don't like I don't like hedge mazes. They freak me out. I'm a coward, you know. No sooner were the words of Sal's mouth that both of us looked over to him. He was grinning happily to himself, mouth open as if readying himself to make a lewd comment as he was prone to. Sal rolled his eyes and moved his attention elsewhere, leaving me to move Dean's focus elsewhere. So Dean, remind me, your family is in the lumber business, right? That's the gist of it, yeah. One of the family, one side of the family at least, figured I'd go into it too eventually. What? And old Smokey is fine with that? Pfft, Gramps used to be a firefighter. Much, of course he fucking was. Wasn't much for the logging business, but understood you need wood to build houses. Dean's grandfather wasn't the Smokey Bear, but that's what we called him. But a firefighter and a bear just makes the nickname kind of stick. Not that his grandfather said anything to dissuade us from using the nickname anyway. How is he these days, anyway? He's good. Whole family is good, really. Don't get to talk to them a whole lot these days. You know how it is, yeah? Have to earn my chops somehow first, yeah. I nodded slowly, not really getting it, but Dean seemed sure that what the correct move was. If earning his chops was what brought him out to be out this way, then I'm thankful that's what allowed us to meet. When I looked to Sal, he seemed to be listening in, but as per usual, didn't seem to be actively contributing to the conversation. What about you, Sal? Wrestling still your thing? Yes, and no. Physical therapy is what I'm going into. Wrestling is a hobby. What, like wrestling on TV? That sort? Yeah. I met Sal at the gym one night, and when I was working for a short stint to earn some cash, turns out the crocodile comes with a natural talent for submissions. Something to do with death rolls or something. It's good exercise. Prefer another type of wrestling myself, if I'm being honest. Oh, God damn it, Dane. If you know what I mean. Yeah. Yeah, I do. It's fine. It's fine, though. I could see Sal's jaw tighten despite Dean laughing off his own joke. I'll leave you guys to it. Dean removes his arm from over my shoulder and saw me off with a wave. Is that how you phrase that? Okay. With Sal snapping his attention from Dean to me so he could do the same. I wander back inside to figure out what my options were now. Ground floor. I wander into the dining room that the butler had pointed out to us before. The whole place seemed large, to the point that it almost seemed silly that only the 7 of us were staying here. Jesus. Well, 8 if you include the butler. Dave. I look up from staring at the table to see a swinging door rock back and forth in the way of a yellow tail disappearing behind it. Orlando? I found the kitchen. He gestured broadly, chest puffed out before returning to his normal half slouch. It's got anything and everything you could hope for in the way of ingredients, even the expensive stuff too. I give him a wry smile, unsure of what to make of this information. Well, you can make a bunch of shit, Dave. Like, do you not cook? I cook. Caviar? Sure, but also saffron, truffles, basically anything you want. Cost isn't a factor here. Neat. Well, I'm boring, so I only use like mediocre ingredients because I'm like lazy and I don't feel like going out to get like anything too extravagant. Orlando huffs. A small tendril of smoke wafts from one of his nostrils. I may not have had caviar too much, but it doesn't interest me. There are better things to put in your mouth anyway. As he turned around, he starts heading into the pantry, listing off a bunch of stuff he'd suggested instead. I recognize a pattern. They were all baked goods. He was all about the baking, actually, right from the day we met up until a week ago, where he brought over some cookies from a supposed failed attempt. But Orlando's failures were still wild successes. His bread was the fluffiest from how warm his hands got when eating, and his sweets were great too. But I guess if you want to try caviar, it's there. At least it's, I guess, ready to go. Well, maybe. After all, mansion, high life, when might I get another chance? Exactly, mansion! Just maybe don't go shoving it into your mouth if you like it. it's expensive, and I don't think you could cover the bill easily. I guess you'll just have to get some baking done to make me snacks. That got a laugh out of him, and I chuckle along. Well, I was planning on using this space to keep my baking skills sharp. Have to keep my practice up if I want to run my own bake shop someday. Oh, that's kind of cute. You know what, Orlando? You're all right. I look around the kitchen, noticing that aside from the ingredients that Orlando had pulled from the cupboard, there were snacks and sandwiches laid out. Are these? Orlando follows his fingers as I point out the sandwiches. Oh, yeah. These were made by the butler. I think this is lunch. Should I go grab everyone? They know where it is, although I think he might have underestimated how much we might eat. Unless he's hidden the actual lunch somewhere. Or he hasn't made it yet. There's that too. Maybe. I took a sandwich, looking around and taking a bite. Hey Orlando, are you the only one out here? Oh honey, you're also out, remember? Huh. Hey Orlando, are you the only one? You're also out. Okay. No, I mean in the kitchen. Oh, right. Man, how much do we need? How much dialogue do we need to, like, confirm that Dave is gay? Like, I feel like once you make a furry VN, it's kind of just assumed that everyone is gay, right? That's like a safe assumption, right? I'm gonna go with that. I think I saw Dean and Sal head off towards the pool while Roswell and Haas went upstairs. I nodded, taking another bite of my sandwich. Gonna keep exploring after you finish your sandwich? We're still a ways off dinner, so you've got some time to do something at least. Yeah, I might. Either that or a nap. A nap? But you slept on the bus. I don't know. Maybe I did. Need a little longer. Maybe I just need a little. Yeah, okay. Well, okay. But don't sleep too long, or you won't sleep tonight. I wouldn't put it past Roswell to try and give you candy either. And just that combination is just asking for trouble. I promise I'll set an alarm to make sure I don't sleep through dinner. You're lucky that this place apparently has a dinner bell. Still, set an alarm just in case. Gotcha. Orlando comes in and gives me a little hug before turning quickly to the pantry again. As for me, I'm hanging out here and making sure Sal and Dean don't eat too many sandwiches when they finally show up. I'm less worried about Haas and Roswell eating them. Just remember you're allowed to have fun exploring too. I will, don't worry. I'll see you when it's time for dinner, or if you get bored looking around. Alright, see ya. With a wave, Roswell shows me off as I made my way out the side door. Sure enough, I end up back into the foyer, wondering what I should do next. Okay, so he said that Haas and Roswell went upstairs. I don't know why, but that makes me think that, like, Ty is in the basement. But, you know, we'll go in order. The first floor was where all the bedrooms were, each one fitted with its own bathroom, and most, if not all, seemed to be furnished the same. It was most like in a hotel, really. A really strange hotel, given each room seemed to be set up just for one person. Or maybe a few smaller people, given the size of the bed. Dean and Sal were easily the largest in our group, and the beds seemed to be made for people of their size. Not that I was complaining. The idea of space seemed great, if maybe a little lonely. Well, then sleep with Dean, then. I look around in a few of the other ones that the butler had pointed out to us for being off limits. They were easy enough to get to and not really well marked. But they were bare of even a bed, and I soon found myself returning to my own. My mind wanders towards Roswell, Haas, and Dean. The first two were small enough to consider bunking up with, given the size of the bed. But maybe they would just wanted privacy. As for Dean, well, that was probably a better idea that we weren't sharing a bed just yet. I was still undecided in how fast I should be moving for someone that was looking for a proper date. Sleeping in the same bed seems to have expectations. Don't be a coward, just do it. I stepped out and looked at the banister, wondering where everyone else was. Orlando was likely still in the kitchen. Dean and Sal were probably still outside. I think I remember seeing a set of stairs leading down. Given how out of the way they seemed, maybe Tyson was down there. Maybe Haas and Roswell were upstairs. In the bedroom, wouldn't surprise me if they decided to see what sort of things were above us. Which, the more I thought about it, seemed a little odd to me. Maybe that's just how things were around the house. After all, my room back home was in the attic, or the top floor anyway. So maybe it was just me being used to having something else in the room underneath, the house underneath. I stretched, wondering what I should do next. Second floor, let's hang out with Haas and Roswell. As I make my way up the stair, let me just move my microphone just a little bit. I make my way up the stairs. I could hear some people talking amongst themselves and how they were fighting the place. When I entered the room, Haas and Roswell turned to me, flashing me a small smile. There you are, Dave. This place is pretty ritzy, huh? They have a conservatory. A what? It's like a glass sitting room. Oh, neat. Where's that? Dave, you're standing in it now. I caught Roswell snickering to himself while I look around the place. Neat. You can't hear how good the acoustics are in here. It'd be great for doing some lines. Acoustics? This room isn't even the coolest thing on this floor. There's a museum too, or I guess it's more like a trophy room. Has a bunch of books though. Haas and I had met at the start of the year, an aspiring actor if there was ever one. Rumor floating around about a failed TV star moving into the neighborhood, but I never expected, well, anyone like him. The day I ran into Haas, I remember it being a little confusing, but I apparently had good energy. So far as improv was concerned, if I wasn't sure I was doing it right. As for Roswell, we met as kids, was real into magic tricks, even if his tricks didn't always work. Still, there was just some things he was able to pull off that I couldn't figure out, and that was magic enough for me. Now he's just into occult stuff. Not really sure why, but he finds it interesting and torments Orlando with it every now and again. Imagine if they had a skeleton on display. What kind? Any, really. Dinosaur would obviously be ideal. What? So you can compare to Sal or Orlando for scales? For scale, whatever. Hey, it doesn't have to be a dinosaur skeleton. Although, now that you mention it, there's also a library up here too. One of those big ones. Looks like it might go across a couple floors, but I didn't really check. And a small study too. This place has everything, huh? Wonder why they needed all of these things. Who used to live here? Don't ask me, I don't know. Hold on, so this isn't one of your folks' home or a relative of yours? Well, they could be. I didn't really pay attention to the details, and my parents did most of the organizing anyway. Okay, but surely you remember whose house this is. I was just so excited, I didn't really think it'd be that important to commit to memory. Besides, when you get told you can spend a month at a mansion as vacation, all expense paid, how much do you really need to be worrying about details if it's organized by your parents? I guess. Still, maybe there's something around that tell us whose place this is. Well, we could ask the butler. He was expecting you, so I'm sure you're allowed to be here. Yeah, come dinner, we'll know. Haas sighed, shaking his head and running a hand through his mane. Well, I'm going to keep looking around, I guess. Me too. There's still a few places I want to look more thoroughly. What are you planning, Dave? What are your plans, Dave? Dunno. Might go find the others. Might take a nap. Not sure yet. Well, okay. You know where to find us if you get bored. But this is... with a place this big, I might start looking around somewhere else. Alright, worst case scenario, I'll see you both at dinner. Sounds good to me. I head back into the foyer, looking over the banister before... Yeah, whatever. Basement! There were a set of stairs leading down to the ground floor, descending into almost pitch black. I fumble forward, wondering and reaching around to search for a light switch. Suddenly the lights come on. Oh, neat, I stopped my sentence halfway, suddenly feeling a presence watching me. As I turn, a set of hands landed heavily on my shoulders, making me squeak and tense up. Boo. The sound I made wasn't manly by any stretch, but as I turned around to look at Tyson, he seemed to be amused enough at my reaction, despite the daggers I was glaring at him. Ty? What? You scared me. Yeah, and it was hilarious. Didn't think I'd get you that good. I grumble, rubbing my face. You're terrible. I bet you turned the lights off on purpose just so that you could jump out at me. Me? Nah, never turned them on. Night vision is good enough to see down here fine. The longer I look him over, the more I notice that he was trying really hard to not squint, and he looked a little dazed. And you totally didn't just blind yourself to scare me either. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, there's not much down here. You can go back upstairs now. No, I want to see what's down here. You've been down here a while, I think. Sure, fine, whatever. Go nuts looking. Or you could just tell me what's down here if that's the problem. If there's a problem. There's a gym. Only thing worth mentioning anyway. I looked around Ty and the other door leading off. There was no way all of these lead to a gym and nowhere else. Just the gym? Well, he gestures over his shoulders to one that looks different to the rest. It was big, looked heavy, but beyond just being a different door to the others, it looked out of place down here. Probably best if I show you. Come on, pup. The room beyond the door was a fairly small one. The main feature of it was really just really just the large door opposite where we came in. If the door we came through was old compared to the others, this one was another magnitude more strange. It even had a keypad next to it, as if wanting a combination to open. What kind of room even is this? Beats me, it looks like a bank vault from a TV show. Even has a keypad on it. Wants a combination, and nothing I put in gets it to the work. Not that I tried. The beeping got on my nerves. I wandered closer to have a look. It seemed like a functional keypad with letters prominently displayed on a lot of the keys, with numbers and symbols in such a small print above them, much like a keyboard. Well, at least we know it's a word, right? I guess. Don't know how many letters, and fucking knows it's just a random letter at that point. Oh. Pressing the same letter over and over to see if it capped out got me nowhere. Not even an incorrect sounding noise, just I hadn't pushed the confirm button. Whoa, you weren't kidding. It's just a door, no telling what's on the other side of it. And frankly, unless it's a buttload of gold we get to keep, I don't care. I guess so. I looked at the door again, eyeing the keypad. It couldn't hurt to have an actual try, right? Maybe. I can put in anything, right? I don't know. Let's go. Sure. Much like what Tyson had said, this thing just wasn't going to be so a simple thing to open. Well, I looked back at Tyson, who seemed to be not paying attention. What? You're zoning out. Only thing I care about down here is the gym. You have fun with the door, Dave. What? Don't you care about me too? What? Don't care about me too? Yeah. You stop that. Fucking brat. I poke my tongue out at him, thinking about the gym. You know, Sal might want to use the gym too, so at least you'd have a gym partner. Huh. He's into wrestling, right? Can't I just lift weights in peace? It's not like you had a gym membership back home. Nah, you just let me in sometimes when we were at work. Hey, I had an employee pass. I wasn't going to use it. Yeah, it shows. Hey. As I huff, Ty laughs to himself. Sure enough, a smile creeps onto my face, having been affected by the laughing. So, what's the plan now? Probably do weights until it's time to eat. Rest of the house doesn't interest me all that much. Not even a little? I'll look around later. Well, okay. Don't worry, I'll be fine. I'll see you at dinner, though. I followed Tyson back out into the basement proper, and watched as he continued straight into another room, presumably the gym. As for me, I detoured and wandered back upstairs, pondering what I should do next. Finish exploring. I yawned, finding my way to my room. As I flopped onto my bed, I patted my stomach, sighing out by having eaten something to tide me over until dinner. The nap on the bus was a couple hours, but even then I didn't sleep well last night. Maybe it was the idea of being far away from home for a month that made me uneasy. Maybe it was something else messing with me. Something had been bugging me ever since we pulled in. Something that was prodding me in the back of my mind as if I'd forgotten something really important. I must have fallen asleep at some point. Every now and again I'd get dreams, but nothing really all that abnormal. Sure, they were sometimes random, but those dreams weren't. But whose dreams weren't sometimes? Okay. I awake to the sound of something echoing around the house. Oh, the dinner bell. I got up from my bed and wondered how long I'd actually been asleep. Dave, dinner's ready. Roswell must have been just down the hall or maybe outside my door. It was hard to tell given how open this place was. Sound seems to carry easy enough. Which was probably why I heard the dinner bell as well. For a moment I thought it was something like an old-fashioned fire alarm. As I stepped out from my room, I caught a glimpse of Roswell heading down the stairs, taking them two at a time before almost slipping and falling over as he bound down at the last one with the last one a little too eager. As I stepped into the dining room, I was greeted with a spread of food far too impressive and grandiose for just the 7 of us. Dave, welcome. What do you think? Pretty good, huh? Wait, you made all this? He helped. Orlando laughed, waving Sal off, although it was clear that he'd been busted. My attention went back to the table, looking over all the food that was there. Various smells assaulted me, and my mouth water as soon as I was able to identify what was what each thing was in my sight alone. With all the food at one end of the table, the others seemed to be piling up their plates and taking it into the other end of the table. Much like the others, I took a plate and grabbed a little bit of everything before deciding where I wanted to sit. It felt like sitting in the high school cafeteria, except more intimate, and much like how I was trying to figure out where to sit, the others were eyeing me almost expectantly. Oh god, what is this, Moriyanatsu? Where they're just like, who are you gonna sit with? That determines the route. Who do you want? Who do you want to fuck? Oh. And you know, back in the Moriyanatsu days, I kind of thought Juichi was cute. I never did his route, but wandering over to Dean with my plate, he got up and pulled the chair out for me, a broad smile on his face. Sit with me? As I had intended to anyway, I sat down, placing my plate down before Dean pushes my chair in slightly and sat back down. So, what do I owe the pleasure, handsome? I rolled my eyes, a smile forming. Already with the flirting? Hey, it's not that sort of dinner date. It's not the sort of dinner date I had in mind, but I'll take what I can get. Yeah. You know the deal, though. I get it. Actually, I'm going to scroll back here. Go data. That makes sense. And then return. I made my choice. But I don't know if that actually determines what route I'm on, but I want to put the save there just in case. And then it'll make it easier when I do the other things. That's fine. I get it. Not actively looking for a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. Whatever happens, happens. But Dean, I might be looking. To Dean's credit, he'd been trying his best to ask me out on a proper date for a while now, changing things up every now and again. Sometimes coffee, other times dinner, but ultimately they'd all fall apart for one reason or another. In Dean's opinion, unless the date was perfect, it didn't count, despite us having hung out a few times just as friends. Well, true, but what? Don't get me wrong, I'm flattered, really. Just, you still come on too strong sometimes. I'm not that bad, am I? You're a little bad, but, that's fine. Sometimes, but I don't know. The attention is sort of nice. Who knows? We're here for a month, so anything could happen. Exactly right. Speaking of, I could show you plenty of attention in my room tonight. I had laughed. Dean knew how to push my buttons, and I had gotten used to knowing when he was legitimately flirting versus when he was just having fun. For not being a friend from school, he integrated himself into the group easily enough. If he ever got himself under control and we had a decent shot at it, he'd probably make a decent boyfriend. While I think about it, tell me how you're finding the mansion. It's pretty big, huh? I realized my mistake the moment I finished talking. You know what else is big? I swear if you say, the woods surrounding the place. Oh, I could have sworn you were going to say. Dean started to wiggle his eyebrows. Of course he fucking does. A sure sign that he was playing around and knew exactly what I had meant. But yeah, had a look around and it seems pretty dense. Probably could hike for a day and get nowhere. Dean skewered a piece of meat on his plate and threw it into his mouth, chewing quickly before talking again. It's only a guess. No way anyone could really see that far, but trust me, I know woods. I groaned, shaking my head and eating the food I'd gathered from the other side of the table. Sneaking a look at what Dean had grabbed, he leaned heavily on meat and root vegetables, smothered in enough gravy to almost be a stew. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, okay, Dave? There's nothing wrong if that's his culinary palate. It's fine. He flashes me a smile as he ate, focusing on finishing his meal before he spoke again. I tried to keep pace, and even with Dean having the that much more than me, we finished around the same time. Ready for dinner? Ready for dessert? More food already? What? You didn't save room? How do you know what that we're getting dessert? I can hope, right? What I wouldn't go for a slice of good pie right about now. Oh, what kind? Nothing beats a good apple or rhubarb pie. Custard, ice cream, cream, whatever on top suits just fine. You know, I've never been a pie person. I don't know. Just like, I feel like I look at a pie and I'm like, that could be a cake. Or like literally anything else. I've actually never had rhubarb pie. And fruit pies feel like they're good, but I don't know. I feel like when I eat a pie, I usually want it to be like a cream thing. Because I'm boring. Pie, huh? Mom used to make them all the time. Nothing beats the taste of home, right? I nodded slowly, wondering what I was going to get. It wasn't long before the door to the kitchen swung open, with the butler emerging with a small tray of what appeared to be desserts. Dessert is served, gentlemen. Whatever this particular spread was mostly... however, this particular spread was mostly Master Orlando's contribution to the meal. Having tried to make something each of particularly like to ease to your stay here, whatever. I look across to Orlando, who went bright red and flashed us all with a bright smile. The butler wheeled the tray around the table, placing the desserts in front of each of us, ending with me. Oh, thank you. What is it, Master Dave? I don't think I've got your name. Oh, I'm no one of import. Pay it no mind. Is it Jeeves? Pardon? Your name? What about Alfred? The butler eyed me carefully before speaking clearly and plainly. You may call me Benson. It is a pleasure to meet you all. He bowed slightly before gently placing the dessert intended for me on the table. If that will be all, gentlemen, I hope you enjoy your dessert and enjoy the rest of your evening. Feel free to leave your plates where they are. I will collect them later. I looked at the dessert placed in front of me and cooed softly. Yeah, okay. When I looked over to Dean, he looked as happy as he could. A genuine slice of pie with an almost perfect amount of ice cream on top. Oh, hey, pie! Orlando must know me pretty well, huh? I'll have to thank him later. I again looked at what had been set in front of me, giving it a sniff. Mine smells like coffee and chocolate. Is this tiramisu, I think? Tiramisu, the fancy coffee dessert? Is it really that fancy? Looks it to me. Want to try some of my pie? Oh, okay. Dean slides his plate over to me so I could use my own spoon to take a small bite. Come on, you can take more than that. It's all right. I took a little more and put it into my mouth. It was still hot, but the ice cream was cooled enough that it was a pleasant heat. It was tart but sweet, the crust flaky and buttery. Oh wow. Good, huh? Dean took a spoonful for himself and put it in his mouth. His eyes bulged immediately, looking at his plate and sliding it back over to himself. A smile formed on his face, clearly enjoying it, but maybe he was just regretting letting me take a bite. How about you try some of mine, Dean? You sure? Only fair, right? Dean took a small part of mine using his own spoon, tasting it, and the smile returned to his face, although different. Hey, not bad. Did you want more? No. If you offer me any more, I might just end up eating everything there. But thank you, though. He put an arm over the back of my chair and continued to eat his pie, breaking off a piece with his spoon until he was down to using both hands to steady his plate and scraping up what was left. For me, my tiramisu was creamy and chocolatey, but with those familiar coffee tones that hit my nose whenever I move my spoon through the cream. The scent of coffee always made me nostalgic, maybe because of how often I smelled it around the family home. It was a safe place, or at least something that I associated with safety. Before I knew it, I'm finished. Side out content if I slept. So, wow, I just can't read. There being coffee involved. With everyone well fed, we filed out into the foyer, ready to turn in for the night. Well, I'm beat. Time to turn in. Haven't eaten that well in a long time. It was good. Very good. Better than what I'd been eating. Really? That was restaurant quality, wasn't it? I'd say better. The perfect mixture of restaurant quality and homely charm. I could feel Orlando tense up next to me. He took pride in his cooking, so I wasn't sure if he was taking this as a challenge or an overall comment on his capacity as a cook. So everyone turning in? I think so. I'm with Dean on this one. Dean shuffles up to me and put an arm around my shoulder, flashing me a particular brand of grin. You're with me, are you? Knowing where I'm going? Back off, bear. No, Tyson, don't. What if I want to hang out with the bear? I blinked, having heard that tone before. It was angry, possessive, and while rarely directed at me, it didn't normally mean anything good. It must have caught Dean off guard, as he pulls his arm back and stepped away soon after. I heard Sal saying something to Dean, arms folded across his chest, while Dean looked sheepish yet apologetic. But as for Orlando, he stepped forward to confront Tyson. You should mind your tone, Wolf. What, you looking to pick a fight over how I talk? If that was talking, I'd hate to have a civil conversation with you. The two stared snarling at one another, and I looked between them, not sure how to defuse the situation. As Tyson took a step towards Orlando, Sal stepped over from his talk with Dean and grabbed Ty under his arm, lifting him off the ground so he couldn't do anything more. Haas pulled Orlando aside to keep him properly separated. This might not be the best time, but I wanted to pitch to everyone. Somehow it was enough to defuse the situation that Roswell seemed to have room to speak freely. So we're here for a month. I figured, why not make a game out of it while we're here? What sort of game? Well, Haas and I found a gaming room on the same floor as the bedrooms, so I was thinking something that DVDs or video games couldn't quite offer. Something we could do as a group or in teams. Oh, but what did you have in mind? I haven't gotten that far. There were grumbles from some of the others before I asked if he had any ideas, and the fire reignited Roswell's eyes. Yeah, something I need to ask Benson first, but it has the potential to be a lot of fun. I like fun. Besides, playing only video games for a month seems, I don't know, like a waste of a mansion. I agree. Not bad to have another option, I suppose, outside of maybe finding a spot to do some fishing. I don't have any ideas. Sounds good to me. If you need help, just give me a heads up. Same here. But for now, I'm just going to bed. That makes two of us. Night, everyone. Dean and Haas wandered up to the stairs out of sight. Night, Dave. Yeah, sleep well. See you at breakfast. Then Roswell and Orlando followed suit. Ty shrugged off Sal. Shrugged Sal off, grumbling. He was let go and kicked the ground, annoyed. Tyson really didn't really say much else, shooting Sal an unimpressed look before heading upstairs. As for Sal, he nodded once and gave me a small wave before heading upstairs like all the others before him. I stood there, taking another look around the grand entry. The furnishings, the stairs leading up to the first floor. If I were royalty, I'd feel the part in this castle easily. But still, something wasn't quite right. Something foreboding seemed to be lingering just beyond view. Something that was making me feel uneasy in the pit of my stomach. I feel the hair on the back of my neck stand on end, and I spurred to see if anyone was there. If I hadn't watched Ty go upstairs on his own, I'd have assumed that he was playing another prank on me. Still, I was alone as far as I could see. No one's there, right? Silence. Mr. Benson? More silence. Maybe this was just tiredness. After all, there wasn't anything sinister here, right? We could trust Roswell's capacity to not invite us to a murder mansion for a vacation, right? Nothing could have beat the sight of my bed by the time I got up to my room. As soon as I lay down and hit the pillow, I was out like a light. I think that's it for this session. So, path. Okay, so I haven't actually dedicated to a path yet. That's interesting. Kind of just assumed, you know. But yeah. See you around, everyone.